Sherilyn,
Hi.
congratulations on a really, really strong thesis. I'm not at all surprised, but also a very good defense. The way you're really able to conceptualize your topic and its importance in a real material kind of way, as in this book will do this here for these people, which I love, of course. It's interesting that you want to take a topic like sexual abuse into Bahamian literature, that you see that this is something that you'll find, and we have found it was for some time an integral kind of narrative trope within Caribbean literature, giving voice to sexual trauma from Caribbean women writers especially. And I wondered if you looked into some of the kind of responses that came out of Black women's literature, Black women's sexual trauma narratives, right? There was like a sort of backlash for a while about victimizing the Black woman, or sometimes it was about, demonizing Black men, right? And so these kinds of narratives sort of pushed back against that tradition of providing that voice within Black women's literary, the literary canon. And then we sort of get this movement towards, well, let's not talk about victims now, let's deal with resilience. And if we're gonna introduce trauma narratives, then it's gotta shift towards a narrative of resilience. And I wondered whether any of that politics informed the decisions you were making as you produced this text and as you reviewed the criticism.
Yeah, well, yes, it sure did inform it. So just coming out of the Caribbean space and thinking about Black Lives Matter versus Say Her Name campaigns, why separate the two, where both groups are marginalized, both groups are profiled, and both groups, have these issues. But when you look at the Black woman, and I talked about the adultification, for example, that theory where it is suggested that Black girls don't need the same support as white girls. They're stronger, quote unquote, stronger. They are more resilient, so they don't need these interventions. They don't need the kind of support that a white girl may need. And that is a myth, that supports the narrative of silence. That supports the whole idea that we need to bear the burden alone. And we need to we can't stop talking about these stories. We can't stop sharing what's happening within our communities in a transparent way, because then we end up right back where we were in the beginning, where we're saying that
continues.
Yeah, it'll continue, and we will keep having these cycles. We'll still raise our girls in the same way, believing that they are somehow, because they're Black, they're somehow more resilient, which is not the case.
Hi, Sherilyn.
Hi.
First of all, congratulations on pushing through with this project during the lockdown. I mean, the last 6 months have been pretty chaotic, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I thought that the writing that you did, the fiction writing, was really, really good. I just want to say that I really want to work with you on revising this going forward as you build it into a book project and try to aim at publication. I think it's actually, it shows the marks of being a publishable work eventually.
Thank you so much.
Well, no, that's not, I mean that in a very sincere way. So I just want to talk about like how you approach the idea of because I've done projects like this, and they're difficult, where you have a theoretical aspect and then you have the creative aspect, because essentially when you have the theoretical aspect, you have a set of goals in mind that the creative project wants to aim for, and it's kind of like confirming the consequent, right? What we call in science, basically aiming your data, cherry picking your data. So can you talk a little bit about how you navigated that? Because it's a very difficult process and kind of labyrinth through which to aim a creative project at a theoretical project without making it sound dogmatic, propagandistic.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it was done backwards. Like I said, this is something that I've experienced. And so I didn't use the theory to inform the creative. It was the other way around. I knew the story because I've lived it. And so I'm able to then say, why would this character act this way? What theory would support this character's action? So it really was the other way around, which perhaps made it a little easier. But then I'm able to kind of see how these things play out. Like I can see the colonial legacy still, manifesting, through the colorism and all those kinds of things. You can still see these things. So it was obvious when you have the story first to kind of see, how these theories kind of work with it. So I kind of took the, easy way.
Well, it's none of them are easy, but I do mean it. When you have subsequent chapters, please do continue sending them to me.
Yes,
I really want to work with you on this project. So.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely do that.
No, please, thank you.
I can't resist saying that she's very much within the Caribbean tradition in this regard. You think of Sylvia Wynter, that's what they do. They theorize within the creative text. Derek Walcott, similarly, Camel Brathwaite, the list is endless. And so it's a sort of organic kind of thing to move forward with each in mind simultaneously. It's one organic whole, as it were, so just that comment.
Thank you.
Okay. We have time for maybe one last question.
May I ask that one last question?
Sure.
It's very brief one. I think you mentioned Sarah Brightman somewhere.
Yeah, I did.
In your work, and I think it enriches it, and I thought it's an opportunity for you to sort of. I don't remember if you talked about the whole idea of the gaze, the male gaze in this instance, and the whole idea of spectacle, especially with those. Sarah was in a situation where they have the slave kind of these markets where I think it was in Germany and some other places where they put the black body on display, and so I thought maybe that might be a place when if you do revise and think of publishing either an article, excerpt, or a book to engage the idea of the gaze on a theoretical level and spectacle.
Yeah, I'll consider that as well. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. The whole being on display. That was a lot for me too. Yeah.
It could really also strengthen an already strong thesis. Will make it even stronger if you branched into that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sherilyn.
Thank you.
You happy now?
No, not until after the deliberation.
Not until after the deliberations. Okay. Easter, you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Aisha Moss, and my